I should let you know that in the second half, Argentina won, Saudi Arabia won. So it's tied right now.
So our poll this morning, do you think that the Commission of Inquiry will yield any person or company being held accountable for the tragic death of the 4 divers? We had 24 people voting on the poll this morning. Of the 24 people voting in the allotted time, 17 of you said yes, you do think somebody's going to be held accountable, and 7 of you said no, you don't think so. So 17 said yes, 7 said no. That's our poll results this morning.
Yeah. Well, let's hope something comes out of it.
Something will come out of it in one way or the other. It will certainly make for some interesting listening, because it certainly was pretty riveting last night.
A lot has come out already, quite frankly.
Yeah,
and Mr. Boudram is set to speak this morning. What time is that commission starting? Anybody knows?
I think it starts at 9.
It starts at 9. Okay.
Yeah. But that, just to divert a little bit away from that, I don't know if you've gotten some of the other recordings, Steve. We could also play that during this hour, I guess. But the traffic yesterday and that rain yesterday was so ridiculous, which goes back to why I do not like rain. That rain should just be for 1 to 4 a.m. on any morning in any given day. That's it. That's your allotted time. Stick to it and keep up.
Why don't tell it where to rain to?
And that's it. No, it could rain wherever, but that's your allotted time. The rain could decide where it wants to rain, but that's your allotted time.
Well, if you decided it causes
it causes so much unnecessary.
It's not the rain that causes any havoc,
Yes, it does.
It's the lack of infrastructure, proper infrastructure that causes any havoc.
Yeah, and the rain
all over the world. If we have proper infrastructure to deal with the rain,
sometimes even if you have great infrastructure, rain still causes problems.
Mm-hmm.
It slows traffic. It makes roads more dangerous.
You might make it worse if the rainfall within a 3-hour period alone.
Yeah, and it makes the roads more dangerous. You have to take your time.
Mm-hmm.
Humans get more. I don't want to say ridiculous sometimes in terms of their driving, because everybody's is frustrated by it. I mean, I was in it yesterday, and at a certain point, there's a route that I take going by Stone Street there to get out to Bryson Road, and there was a certain section that was flooded. That's what I call
the bottom of that Stone Street you
had to turn back.
It's a sink.
Yeah, you had to turn back, which I did. Then you got onto Ryson Road, and then Ryson Road was so terrible.
It's the lack of proper infrastructure and drainage.
I made the stupid decision because I'm looking up by the lighthouse and I'm seeing people heading across South Key. So I said, let me go on South Key and head down that road. And when I went on to South Key, it was a merry-go-round of people making U-turns.
Let me tell you
because you couldn't pass.
Because it was terrible.
Take one route, St. Vincent Street, little traffic, down to Independence Square, turn off by the Central Bank onto Ryson Road, make a right onto the lighthouse, go around there, South Key, and then go back around to the bus route.
It's terrible.
That will save you.
Yeah. But you see, that is where the water is, Paul. That in order to get to the priority bus route from there.
No, there's no water there, because the road I'm talking about is from the Beetham heading east, back by the market.
Right. Okay. Yeah. You're taking it. Yes.
That's the route.
So you take any flyover as if you're going to the Beetham.
But when you were coming into town, I didn't even try to come into town. I didn't try the route of coming into downtown. When I was entering to town yesterday morning, I just simply decided, Lady Young, you are my friend this morning. I generally don't like the Lady Young, because I find, if you're stuck behind a slow truck or a police van trying to make a point, that's it. You're stuck. But I did the Lady Young yesterday. I said, nope, I ain't going through that downtown havoc, whatever it is.
But I got in the points for the 9:30 yesterday, and it wasn't bad because I come off the bus route and then go on to the South Key wasn't as flooded yet, but it got bad later on.
It got bad yesterday
And
afternoon.
then there's this off-road that you have to take. Sometimes if it gets bad, you have to go through and pay $1 or volunteer $1 to the young men over a makeshift route with police standing by them, by the way. Because
the
the road is
track.
so bad. I mean, and the state officials just accept that, well, this is how the natives have to operate.
And that is it. It's been like that for days.
Well, for weeks, Steve. For weeks.
Well,
For
let's
weeks.
last
Not
week,
days,
Monday.
weeks.
You know, and it's like nothing is being done. Is the city
And this is
corporation
how
the
it's
one
going
in
to
charge?
be all the way through till next year.
Is it my imagination, or have we gotten more consistent rain this year than ever?
We have
We have.
gotten more consistent rain.
We have.
We're above the average for this comparable this time of year.
Yesterday
And
afternoon.
more coming later on today.
Yeah.
Weather yellow alert.
Yesterday afternoon, it was 22 degrees at Piarco International Airport. Afternoon, It's just a lot of rain. Our weather alert is from 2 p.m. today until 8 p.m. tomorrow. So, and there's a 70 to 80%.
It gives you a certain amount of anxiety when you have to take the roads and not know, especially when you know there's a riverine alert. So you know that there are some places that are going to flood because water has to go somewhere, and the water in business if you're on the road when it have to go somewhere. And and so I must admit that I get a little anxious trying to plot out where is the safest route to pass. Especially when you hear something like, on top of all of the rain and all of the havoc that you've already seen for the week, since yesterday, and continuing since last week, basically, that you now have an adverse weather alert today that continues in tomorrow, 8 p.m. with more and more rain.
Yeah. I am sure
if
right
I had
now,
a choice, if I'm sure if people had a choice, they weren't venturing into town today.
if you don't have to, don't.
Because it's just, well, today and tomorrow, basically.
Pretty much. And I'm sure right now there are cars on the Eastern Main Road that are trying to get onto Abattoir Road to come out onto the B-thumb. And while the people at the civilized drivers on the left lane doing the right thing, I'm sure there's the inconsiderate drivers that create in their own lane that decide to come up on the right side, the oncoming traffic, and are blocking that route. That's what I saw last week. And they don't care. So if you have to leave Port of Spain early, please do. Because you know that traffic out of Port of Spain, and don't even talk one little accident, it could be in Claxton Bay, and it's a domino effect into Port of Spain.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's terrible. One that the Solomon Troy Highway has certainly outlived its 2-lane. You get a slow truck on the left, that's traffic.
I mean, we could take some calls on the poll.
Yeah, let's do that.
But I said shortly. I didn't say immediately.
No.
Well, actually, maybe we could one time, yes. Because I'm sure people will have opinions concerning the issue of the Commission of Inquiry and what they would have heard. Did you get any of the other audio clips, Steve?
Well, I have a couple here, but not much.
Beyond the one that you played, did you get any others besides those?
No. I just have the chairman and the 2 clips from the divers.
No, I'm talking about the actual recording of the guys.
No.
Okay, no, because there was more to that clip. Obviously, we just got a part of it, but there was more.
We did.
And but that was the clip that started off inaudible in a kind of way. You weren't sure what you were hearing, and then it cleared up. Then there is another clip that is clear from beginning to end. Beginning to end. But anyway, we can take some of your calls about what you think. Of course, you heard our poll this morning. I mean, do you believe that the Commission of Inquiry into the Paria diving tragedy will lead to someone or some entity being held up responsible for the diver's death? And of course, the diver's deaths, sorry. And of course, you would have heard our poll results, which was 17-7. Maybe that is the pick 2 for today. 17 people said yes, and 7 people said no. And so you can probably give us a call now to expand on your vote, or what your opinion is, even if you didn't vote on the issue, on what you heard yesterday. If you heard it, I don't know how many of you would have listened to it. I mean, it was. I don't know how people in that commission of inquiry kept their composure, because I was looking at people's faces as they were listening to that. And as a human being, it affects you. It must affect you. But anyway, let's take some calls. So
Yeah.
222-TALK, 222-8255, North Americans 866-525-1099. And of course, people on the web and the app, you know what to do. You can send your messages. But we prefer calls at this point. So 222-TALK, 222-8255, North Americans 866-525-1099. People in other parts of the planet, 1-868-222-TALK, 222-8255. The lines are now open.
Yep. All right. 24 minutes after the hour is 7 o'clock. Of course, we do have a cruise ship that's in port right now with 2431 passengers. Good
That's a
morning.
different one to the one that was there yesterday.
That's the one that left Scarborough overnight and came in this.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Good morning.
Good
caller.
morning.
Morning, Richard. I have a quick question for you.
What's that?
If an assassin is continually hired by someone, who is more guilty, the assassin or the person that is hiring the assassin?
That's difficult. Both are guilty.
I'll leave that one for you, Rich.
Both are guilty.
Let me leave you with that, right? Because it's one thing to falsely work as a commercial diver and you're only have scuba divers there, but it's another thing to hire them.
Well, both. We'll see where the blame eventually lies.
It's not about blame, it's about what happened and how to prevent it from happening again.
There's also some blame there too, because remember, civil cases are probably going to arise out of this commission of inquiry.
Oh, yeah.
So blame may have a part to play in that too.
If you look at the OSHAC holds 3 people accountable. It holds the owner, the occupier, and the employer. So that's 3 people right there. And there's a reason why they do that. Because in order to prevent, you have to understand we cannot continue to hire substandard work, substandard contractors who put people who don't know any better at risk.
Well, I suppose that's what the commission of inquiry is going to find out. I can't say that LMCS is substandard. You're making a statement.
I
say you're making a statement. I can't say that. I don't know. The commission of inquiry will certainly reveal that. Will certainly look into all of those issues, because you have something called contributory negligence, where you can have contributed to what happened. It does not exclude the other party from any blame, so to speak, but it mitigates it. It can mitigate it.
A person who is a scuba diver is qualified to do commercial work. So if you have a scuba diver on your job and you're doing commercial diving, you have to take some responsibility for that. And it is the responsibility of the person, the client who is hiring them, to ensure that those people are qualified. And whether they were qualified on paper and different people showed up, that's something yet to be known. But you can't give a person a fire extinguisher and tell them this is how you use a fire extinguisher and then call him a fireman. That's the difference between scuba and commercial. A commercial diver takes 6 months to train and to become certified. You could get scuba in 1 hour in Tobago.
All right. Thank you. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning again, gentlemen. Charmaine, morning. Oh, you know, I'm always talk to me, and I never met her. Rena Budu Jennings. Good morning, my dear PNM friend. Listen, I want to go along the line that first caller said there, because that's the first thing I heard last night. I say, they didn't have the gear for that kind of diving. Well, what they were doing down in there, well, somebody is liable. I won't say somebody, but a company. Thank you, I got.
Well, that's what the Commission of Inquiry is for, because you're going to have competing explanations and competing narratives about whom was negligent in terms of how they operated in the scenario. The Commission of Inquiry is basically to try to make its way through all of that explanations from both sides to find out the closest to the truth as possible.
Yeah. Good morning.
So we'll see what happens. Yeah, we're still taking your calls. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. Well, I'm going to pull back on the inquiry a little bit. Now that they are actually going to give evidence, I'm going to wait on it. Before, I was doing like everybody else and putting two and two together. But now that evidence is at hand, let's wait. I will wait a little bit. People can do whatever the hell they want. Now, regarding this rainfall and so on, it's here to stay. This excessive, this heavier rainfall. What happened? Global warming is real. You can see the polar bears trying to catch the seals that are now floating on pieces of ice where there used to be solid ice. And as a result of the ice melting, you're getting the rise in the sea level. And all of that is plain to see now. There's no debate about it anymore. There's no global warming deniers anymore. Now, what happens when the air gets hotter? It holds more water. The same volume of air holds more water. And it's not a straight line graph. The graph turns upwards, meaning that the degree that is to come holds more than the incremental degree before. So a little bit of rise in temperature on a given day holds a lot more water, right? So our experience that when it's hot, it's going to rain is very real, and that is going to happen more and more. So now we have to work the infrastructure accordingly. But it seems to me that we're going around the same road, the politics and the bluffing and the blaming and the waiting for the rainy season to be over and sitting back and waiting for the water to run off. That is not going to cut it, guys.
All right.
That is something else. Thank you.
Good morning.
I don't know that there's still, and they're not, there are still no, that there are now no climate deniers. You still have people that think that the earth is flatter. Don't underestimate the
that's
level of human stupidity. Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
The first caller on this matter of the inquiry is along the correct lines. The main purpose of the inquiry is to identify errors in the whole process, from procurement of the divers to any attempted rescue. And along the way, they would see where things could be improved, where things have failed, and what have you. All the issues about compensation and those things are secondary to the main purpose. The main purpose is really a technical analysis. So all the voices in there and all that is the emotion in it. But they have to keep focus as the guiding principle in safety on identifying the flaws, not blaming anybody. After those things, those type of words would come into the other aspects. And the gentleman was right on point. So I will urge people to focus on that rather than the issues that they would normally focus on, the blame and what. Try and take the word blame out of it and just look at it as a kind of technical analysis. I know it's difficult, but it's what is required. Have a good day.
All right, pal. All the best there. Good morning, caller.
Hello, good morning,
Good
gentlemen.
morning.
Gentlemen, we should have a commission and inquiry on the running of this country. You understand? Because things just happening and going over and over and over. And we have like leaders just riding women. You understand? Using the executive to bombard or retain the position. We need to look at the budget, was our criminal budget, yet we finding all kind of things. First, you put the Nelson thing, and that died down, and that ain't even solved. You do all kind of things, just pushing me back so we can accept everything that going on here. The high gas prices, all these things, Trinidadians, it's fools now. They're just forgetting everything, and these people coming, and then you have the audacity to talk about Jack Warner, a man who have international pull, the only individual from the Caribbean who was a vice president of the biggest football company in the world, FIFA. You understand? Whom Nelson Mandela called to spend his birthday with. You understand? If we had somebody like that as our prime minister, we would have more business interests in this country. We have a leader that doesn't have any international pull, and anytime he going anywhere, he pushing me a Motley in front. All enjoy already.
Two 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 8255 6128255.
Get what you want to get off your chest.
Yeah.
So 222 talk 222-8255. North Americans 866-525-1099. International, other international callers 1-866-222 talk. We're taking your calls at this point. Of course, the main story today is the issue of the Commission of Inquiry into the Paria diving tragedy. And so that's what we are primarily discussing, even though, of course, you can discuss other things. But that's the primary topic, which is on the front page of all dailies this morning. Every single one carried that story. And as I said, the audio was riveting last night, for those of you who heard it.
Yeah, and for those that heard it for the first time this morning, ouch. Good morning, caller.
Gentlemen,
Morning.
Good morning, Zina.
I'm so happy my Prime Minister has never been charged for anything. Thank you.
But you've never been charged for anything? That's what you said?
That Rowley has never been charged for anything.
Oh, that Dr. Rowley has never been charged.
Mhm.
Okay. I wasn't sure. I thought she wasn't charged for anything. I want to know, where did that come from?
Good morning.
Morning, everybody. How are you going this morning?
Good morning, Mr.
Good,
Patrick. We're good.
Yeah. I was watching the tape thing with them people in that thing, boy. So them couldn't find a way to bust up nothing, boy. Yeah?
You need
Well, I think it's a little bit more complex than just
Yeah.
busting it open.
Boy, you could cut with that thing, boy. You could get some parts and then cut with a whole pipeline, boy.
But
You're talking about the authorities.
Yeah, them could have get some thoughts and get some deep divers and chop with a line from below there, boy. That murder, why you see there, boy? That murder. You understand?
No, murder is no, Mr. Patrick. It's not murder.
But the people suffocate and then is that
Right, but nobody went out and deliberately killed them. Okay, it may have been negligent. It may have been negligent homicide, but murder is a bit much, Mr. Patrick.
That neglect, right?
Well, I would say it's neglect. I'm not the authority to say that, but that would be my impression. But murder is a bit much.
All right, brother. All right, what do you want to talk about? Is this
murder, you have to have intent. I say for murder, you have to have the intent to kill.
You go down and investigate right now. Right? The party and them, so they got to investigate his plan in Tobago with this, how much million? 2 point something million dollars?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they said
Right on the election done.
Didn't they report it? Didn't they? I'm sure that I saw on the news last night that Farley Augustine and the THA reported it to the fraud squad. Is that what they did?
To the fraud squad.
Did they? I think they did, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think they did.
And Slim say he won the investigation. Because Fali them going about the place line on the lady. So this thing was on a campaign trail, they say, and they win an election by that, they say, campaign. But now we see now, it's going to the first quarter. I want to see who going to get a couple now. But something wrong with these people and them, when it comes to politics, right? So I watch the thing closely and the lawyer, the big lawyer, what is him? Mr. Paparia.
Ramesh Maharaj.
Not Ramesh, the next guy.
Gilbert Peterson,
Yes,
Senior Counsel.
Yeah. He very aggressive very well.
All lawyers are to some degree.
The chairman tell him about, he tell the chairman that is far from the truth. Oh Lord, man. But I listen to this thing seriously because I really want to know who, as the man say, is the culprit in the whole thing. So everybody breaks in. Paria breaks in. LMC what? Breaks in too. So I want to know where is the facts, where is the truth in this whole matter. Why nobody?
Well, that's what the Commission of Inquiry is hoping to shed some light on all that transpired.
The Coast Guard and them say, they don't have the equipment what's to go wrong there. Coast Guard in the country, they don't have the equipment to go wrong there. So I don't know. All
right. Thanks, Mr. Patrick. All right. 222-8255, 612-8255. North Americans, you got a toll-free number. 866-525-1099. Of course, there's a message on our message board as well.
You know, you're just hoping that at the point that those men are trapped in that pipe, and the decision makers, because there are people who have to make the decision how to handle it. The entire focus, in my opinion, should be, one, make the assumption that these men are alive, and two, what can we do to save them? And you should extend all measures in terms of trying to save them, including sourcing international assistance if necessary, if you don't have the capabilities to do it yourself, or even if you wanted to bring in international help as consultants in how do you rescue these men. Because you have to term it a rescue and you have to assume they're alive. And you already had a witness who escaped from the pipe who's telling you that they're alive. So what did the decision makers do? And I suppose all of that is going to come out in the COE. What did they do? What was the decision? What was the driving factors for the decisions that were made? And I suppose it will be examined, and the narratives will be examined and cross-examined, and we'll get to some level of what the picture looked like.
Yeah. Good morning.
You know, I wanted to switch topic a bit. I'd like to look at how political narratives develop sometimes.
I'm not hearing you very clearly.
Yeah, you're very low.
Yeah, hear me better now?
Yes.
Yeah. One thing is, sometimes it's interesting to me to look at how political narratives develop and how groups of people. Sometimes I had to say innocently follow them. And I'm looking at this situation with Mr. Warner's extradition and how the narrative is being sort of painted that the government is taking action because of Mr. Warner then, so that you would hear Mr. Alwari being mentioned as a sort of protagonist in the issue then. But if you look at the facts, the issue of Mr. Warner's extradition actually started when Gavin Nicholas was the People's Partnership Attorney General. And yet still, if you look at the media, the what have you, and a narrative will bill, even though it could be contrary to the actual facts on the ground. I just find those things interesting, and I thought I might point it out because I'm kind of.
I don't understand what you mean contrary to the actual facts on the ground. What do you mean by that?
All right. What I'm saying is this: Mr. Warner's situation is really a legal matter, and it's a legal matter that started irrespective of which party formed the government.
Yeah.
Yet still, the political narrative that will develop over the next period of time will be one that will go in favor of a political narrative saying that is the PNM persecuting Mr. Warner. That's the point they're trying to make then. So I have already looked at the situation and see the narrative developing. And I thought I would point it out so that over the next week or 2 or 3, as it unfolds, they will see that narrative being established then, even though the issue is above who is in government, because the extradition treaty between the government of Trinidad and Tobago, no matter who formed the government, and the US. And I'm just saying that, even though that narrative is being developed, the process actually started when Gavin Nicholas was the UNC Attorney General, so that it's just being continued by Mr. Alwari and now by Mr. Amo, It might be relevant to you, but I just thought I'd point that out,
All right, I hear you.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Double politics will get involved, I suppose, is inevitable because Jack Warner was a political figure too. So politics is kind of, wrapped up in the narrative. But I do agree with you, it should purely be a legal issue, and it is purely a legal issue, whether you're extradited or not. Unless and that's why you have the separation of powers. So the courts make their decisions, and the state has to follow what the court says. Now, I know Mr. Warner did say that he had further challenges to put forward. I'm not so sure what those challenges are. So I assume all of that will be made clearer as the weeks pass.
Yeah. All right. So 222-8255, 612-8255. Toll free North Americans, 866-525-1099. Argentina and Saudi Arabia. Argentina 1. Saudi Arabia 2.
What?
All right.
Something about that Middle East heat, boy.
Yeah, well, yeah, accustomed to it, I'm sure. 82 minutes gone so far in the allotted 90. All right, so we are taking some of your calls. You can drop us a message on our message board. Yep, just look for Power 102 FM and whatever platform you're on and download our app, or you can go to your browser. Type in power102fm.com and whatever smart device that you have as well. Right? It works with Alexa and the others. We'll take your calls. Of course, come up at 9 o'clock. Sir Charles will be in. And don't forget, just a reminder of our morning poll. You can vote on it. Of course, it'll stay up overnight until tomorrow morning. Do you believe that the Commission of Inquiry into the Paria diving tragedy will lead to any person or company being held responsible for the deaths of the 4 divers? All right, that's
just in case you're joining us a little late and you didn't hear the results of the poll in the first hour. 17 people said yes, they do believe that somebody will be held accountable, and 7 people said no. We had 24 people voting in the allotted time. Of course, much more people vote on our online polls. So as we continue throughout the day, so you can continue to vote on this poll throughout the day through our programming, and we'll give you the final result tomorrow morning, which will be Wednesday and which will also be midweek, believe it or not.
All right, so online, the majority of our voters have voted yes, that they believe something will come out of this diving tragedy. I hope so. Reality? I don't know. I don't know. All right, so we'll take some of your calls. And if we had just, we are coming into Port of Spain on the Eastern Main Road. By the end of the priority bus route, it is flooded, impassable. So you're being diverted onto the start of Independence Square, as well as to Abattoir Road. And please drive responsibly. Of course, the authorities are there directing you, diverting you. All right? It's been flooded for a couple of days.
And you're going into an adverse weather alert from 2 p.m. today. It's almost like how much more, you know what I wonder about, Steve and Paul? Do the authorities, and specifically I suppose in this scenario it's the Ministry of Works and Transport, do they look at the infrastructure and say, okay, the infrastructure is already overwhelmed? You don't want an adverse weather alert taking place. How much more is it going to be overwhelmed? How much more is it going to disrupt your infrastructure? And what plans you need to put in place? Whether it be collaborative with the TTPS, etc., you know, what do you need to open up the bus route tomorrow or from this afternoon? Are those kinds of decisions being mulled over at this point? I have no clue if all of that goes into play to minimize the inconvenience. And at some point, sometimes you have to tell people, don't come into Port of Spain.
Yeah, that is it.
At some point, you tell people, okay, if you can work remotely, work remotely.
No, but
Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Hey, little stranger, what's happening?
I am not a stranger. I'm always here.
Okay.
Anyhow, someone must be held accountable, and we as the people, we have to hold them accountable. If they're playing this track enough, we have to bring it back into their memory. We have to match, and we have to make change. It is time that these things must be stopped, because these people could have been rescued. They could have been saved because you all didn't make a good, strong effort. Life is worth more than that. Somebody decides that they were already dead and it wasn't going for them. And they was proven wrong, right? People have to always put the best. They must always have hope then. Operate from a place of hope. That is what is going on with our country now. Our people are losing hope and they are not operating from a place that everything could change. Things could change, and they could always change for the better. We could always look for the best in everything. Better you try for 100% and you drop down to 50, and you're only going for 50. Go for the full 100%. Right? We have to keep them, and we have to keep that issue in people's minds so that they will be held accountable. And if it's looking like we're slacking off, we have to march, we have to protest, we have to bring the issues to the forefront. Right? We mustn't let that pass. Something like that must never again happen in Canada or Tobago. It must never happen in this country again. Right? We must never give up on human life. Because people could always change and things could always be for the best. You must always have hope. Right? And that is what we need in this country. More hope and faith. Faith that things could turn out the right way. I always believe something could go good. You could always get the best. If it didn't happen, well, it didn't happen. I said, well, next time. But you can't hope for the worst. Hope for the best.
Absolutely, Cindy, you're so right. And you know what I'm just hoping to, Cindy, that in the decision-making process, that money didn't come into it. That it didn't say, well, it makes no sense spending all that money because we think they are dead. I I
hope
sincerely
that is
hope
not it.
that didn't come into it.
I and all hope that didn't come into it, right? But if we mustn't, I don't understand people why you must always go for the lazy boy. Why you must always go for the lazy? We mustn't be so lazy. We must be enthusiastic, put the best foot forward in everything we do. Don't always go for the lazy. Go for the that. Look now, and go for that bring hope, that bring results, that give you success. Always strive for success, and you will get success. Even, Richard, I'm going biblical here. The Bible tell you that and all. God tell you, seek and you shall find. Oh my God, always seek and always shall find. Stop always putting 50% and 25% into something. Go wholehearted, put 110%, and you will get results. Sometimes it's the power of your mind, Just how you think about something, you just lose the battle, I mean, you're going into an exam just because you feel you're going and fail. You go inside there and fail, and you know everything that the exam brings, All you have to put all your best foot forward in every effort all you do, and we will get the result we need. You understand? Always have hope. I always have hope. I don't see the worst in nobody. It could be who. I just see the best in everybody. If it falls short, it falls short. We deal with it another day, another way. But always see the best in every effort you put forward in Trinidad and Tobago, and we will succeed. We will succeed. This is a real tragedy because somebody's father that gone, somebody's son that gone, somebody's brother that gone, and nephew, or uncle, man. And you know what it is for a young child to grow up without their father, to giving them that extra boost and that parental skill and that love, and I say nobody will treat your child better than you will treat your child and guide them. Nobody can parent your child like how you will parent your child. That's real sad to hear and to hear them men and them. And then one was talking about we all in this together, we had to make the effort. You know why they want to take a person in that position to keep that kind of mindset and all you dash away them people hope and just leave them there? That's real sad this morning listening to that recording. Right? Real sad. Have a good day, guys.
All right, so thank you so much.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
How y'all going again?
Good man.
I admire that caller that was talking about hope. I really do admire her, but I have to say that again, when it comes to a job like diving, you don't do this job on hope. You have to have a plan in place. You think this is the first time divers get stuck into a pipe? You have to have a plan for this. You have to have a rescue plan in place. You're not supposed to start that job without, first of all, the owner or the occupier, the property telling you all where they have energy sources, and you make sure that they are what you call de-energized and isolated. None of that took place. This was a surprise to everyone. So this is what I'm saying. This was a rush job. We go do that, man. We go get that done, man. Yeah, man. That's an easy thing, man.
Well, I think the last caller is making a bigger point than all of that, caller. I think the bigger point that she's saying is in circumstances where human life is involved, regardless of what mistakes have been made, there needed to be more aggressiveness about saving and rescuing them. That did not seem evident.
No,
and that's what she's talking about in terms of hope and enthusiasm, that you must always believe they are alive and are we doing everything possible to save them?
I agree with you 100%, just like those boys in Thailand and the cage. But you see, when it comes to diving, 2/3 of people who die are rescuers or would be rescuers because of no plan, because of a lack of plan. That's the statistics. And therefore, anybody who did not want to or was frightened to go and rescue them, I'm not saying that I don't blame them. I really don't blame them, but I also saying that it's because they didn't have a plan. They didn't plan for any.
I don't know that there were people that were didn't want to go and rescue them because they were afraid. I think the decision makers made the decision that they felt whatever that, and what was the reason for them making those decisions?
Even a firefighter, a chief of a firefighting team, if you look at a burning building and he hears a screaming inside, he will not let his firemen go inside if they're going to be at risk. Because at the end of the day, 4 guys died, and it is not a good thing, but it could have been 8, it could have been 9, it could have been 20. This is how.
Or they could have been saved. We don't know until we know all the facts.
Exactly.
So I mean, we are all speculating at this point. But the issue is, was enough done aggressively? Because the families certainly did not believe that enough was done. When that happened back in February, the families were basically complaining in the media that not enough was being done. They were crying before the cameras.
Yeah.
Not enough was done, but what I'm saying is that it wasn't done at the planning stage. That's where it was crucial.
Well, we don't know. We will have to find out and see what happens. It could have simply been somebody that made a decision that I don't think they're alive and I'm not spending that money. Yeah?
Well,
that would be sad.
I have experience in this industry. I'm telling you.
I don't know what the decision-making process was from whoever had to make the decision and how it all went out. So all we're talking about here is speculation, and I suppose that's what the Commission of Inquiry is going to reveal.
Correct, but I am not speculating based on my experience. You have
well, we're talking about the specific incident. I'm not disputing that whatever you're saying about planning, etc., etc., etc. But I'm saying, was enough done to save them? And that's ultimately the question that substantively is going to have to be answered by that Commission of Inquiry. Well, hopefully, I shouldn't say have to be answered. Hopefully, will be answered.
You should not even need permission from the client to go and save them. You should have already had that in any work or plan.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you, caller. We'll continue to take your calls after our 8 o'clock news brief, which is going to come up here. All courtesy Champlain Auto Services. Again, if you get into Port of Spain, Eastern Main Road, by the end of the priority bus route is impassable. Floodwaters. Again, so you're being diverted onto Abattoir Road and onto Independence Square, west or south, or however you call it. So it's a little back up there this morning. All right.